Well, 2023 is coming to a close pretty soon, so let's look back at some of the most insulting interviews that we got from this year. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and these are 10 of the most insulting celebrity interviews of 2023. Number 10, Hugh Grant. In 2023, the world was gifted with an awkward interview between model Ashley Graham and Dungeons & Dragons star Hugh Grant. Ashley was trying her best to give a good interview and ask Hugh the hard-hitting questions. Like, who was he wearing? Was he excited to be there? Did he hope anyone won? You know, the generic questions they tell you to ask on day one. Hugh was not budging to the point where she just kinda gave up and let him loose. One of her last questions to Hugh was regarding his cameo in the Netflix film Glass Onion, which he says was barely a full day on set. The incident sparked a ton of backlash, mainly aimed at Hugh for making Ashley's job more and more difficult because he wasn't even responding to that first round of questioning. But then the narrative switched to, why wasn't she asking him better questions? ABC decided that the hosting gig was going to go to somebody else next year, and it's looking like she won't be making any more interview appearances anytime soon. Number 9, Rachel Zeggler. Rachel Zeggler's comments about the upcoming live-action Snow White movie could have a huge impact on ticket sales, according to branding experts. The 22-year-old actress has received plenty of backlash after she admitted that she hated the original 1937 movie and branded the storyline as weird, while referring to the Prince character as a stalker. Not wrong. The backlash occurred after several videos of Rachel speaking negatively about the original film in various interviews last year that resurfaced online, where she talked about her version of this character, saying that she's not going to be saved by a prince and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. While Disney may just be trying to modernize the classic, these comments were causing her to be labeled as a fake feminist. Some critics accused Rachel of gaslighting, and one marketing consultant has warned that Disney will need to be careful with how they've portrayed Snow White. Snow White has already been suffering from backlash well before Rachel made her comments. Peter Dinklage spoke out about Disney not using true dwarf actors for the new film and instead opting to use heavy CGI on Hollywood elites. Rachel's role as Snow White is in the air as of filming because while this film is set to release in March, the writers and actors strike set production back, so who knows, maybe they recasted her in the background while we weren't paying attention. Number 8, Adam Driver. Adam Driver is an incredible actor, and I personally got to see him perform for the first time in a little rom-com alongside Daniel Radcliffe called The F Word. If you ever seen that, check it out, it's a great movie. And then I saw Star Wars. Okay, don't worry, I know that he's Kylo Ren. This year, Adam had the chance to play one of the creator of one of the fastest and most recognizable car brands in the entire world, Enzo Ferrari of Ferrari cars. The film has been receiving some pretty solid reviews, following in the shadows of films like Ford v Ferrari from a couple of years back. It seems like we might get a cinematic universe of stories behind popular car brands. There's a DeLorean movie, there's this movie. They should just make a movie about Subarus next. My parents love Subarus, they're great cars. While doing press for the film, Adam was involved in a Q&A that resulted in one of the best Adam Driver clips to ever exist. A man in the audience asks Adam how he feels about stunt racing scenes, as they are pretty intense, harsh, and honestly, in their opinion, cheesy. Cheesy? Adam doesn't like that word. He sips his water, and with very little hesitation, he says, I don't know, F you. Next question. The clip became viral very fast, and people are actually praising Adam for his response. People at these events are given a rare chance to speak with actors, directors, and everything in between, so when someone takes that precious time just to tell you how they feel about something and to see if you agree, it's just a waste of time. Number 7, Pedro Pascal. Pedro is another treasure in this world. Not only has his energy and genuine personality been showcased in his TV and film roles, but he's become one of the most recognizable faces in meme culture. He's also been involved in projects from every genre: comedy, action, horror, and now live-action video game adaptations thanks to the Last of Us series. Earlier this year, he was attending the premiere of Season 3 of The Mandalorian, and an interviewer stopped him on the red carpet and asked if he might like to read some thirst tweets to the camera. This was unprompted and never confirmed to be okay with Pedro beforehand, before he was put on camera. Pedro took the piece of paper that he was handed. It contained the tweets. He giggled, took a moment to read it over, and with a big smile on his face just gave them a sincere no, and then called the comments too dirty to read. But being the man that he is, he told them that they were doing a great job and that those were some thirsty tweets. He was not insulted by this interaction at all, and if anything, it's just another clip that showcases showcases how much of a gem this man really is. Number 6. Dax Shepard. In September of this year, an individual named Jonathan Van Ness, or JVN, made an appearance on Dax's podcast, Armchair Experts. JVN rose to fame after appearing on the series Queer Eye and has continued to work in several sections of the beauty and fashion industry for years. While speaking with Dax, known best as a comedic actor from movies like Employee of the Month and Idiocracy, he actually ended up bringing JVN to tears thanks to his comments towards the concept of transitioning and gender-affirming care. During the conversation, Dax wished to debate both sides, to which JVN responded with several well-researched points. Dax's views have always been questioned, as they seem to be based in misinformation and are actually anti-trans in general. Towards the end of the conversation, and after JVN basically had to defend their beliefs over and over again, Dax apologized and acknowledged that he should not have put JVN in that position. Jay expresses their exhaustion of having to justify these comments and fight for the rights of younger people who are transitioning. JVN is just very passionate about youths especially being accepted and involved in as many activities and interests as possible in their lives. Dax has been called out for his comments when the entire point of the podcast was to discuss JVN's own podcast, so you might say he went a little off topic. Number 5. Tony Danza. Modern audiences may not know much about Tony Danza, but if you're a fan of the 80s and 90s, this man will have come across your screen once or twice. Starring in shows like Taxi and Who's the Boss, Tony dominated the sitcom scene for a solid portion of his career. Earlier this year, at the Broadway premiere of New York, an interviewer named Rye Myers asked Tony a question about New York that left Danza branded as one of the rudest celebrities in the world. He was simply asking Tony what his favorite NYC staple food was. Pizza, hot dogs, what makes Tony tick? Instead of answering the rather simple question and just moving on, he took a moment to pause and tell Rye that he should get better questions, and even told him to relax. The clip went viral and people quickly began supporting Myers. Even the great Michael Bublé chimed in to let him know that he loved him and was ready to share a pizza with him at any time if Tony wasn't invited. Tony actually reached out later on and apologized for his response, deciding that he ultimately wanted to squash the beef. Things were patched up, but that is still an extremely rude and awkward moment. Number 4. Doja Cat. The Met Gala always seems to bring in some truly memorable moments, whether it's an outlandish outfit or an interview where they just meow the entire time. It's a weird place to be. Yes, Doja Cat went to the Met Gala in 2023 dressed as a cat. She literally had prosthetic nose on her face and prosthetics on her eyebrows, all the while wearing a sparkly silver dress with little sparkly ears on top. Emma Chamberlain decided that Doja was the woman that she needed to interview. No one else. Doja Cat was the one, which ended up being a very bad decision. Great, well, bad for her, great for us. Doja responded to every single question that this woman asked with a resounding meow. At one point, she actually attempts to tell a story and meows a few times with different tones, like meow, meow, meow. The entire time, the guy who is standing with her is just kind of like, yeah, that's Doja Cat. She's been doing this for a month now. The moment was honestly more entertaining than rude, but I'm not sure if this was planned beforehand or not. If it was, great meme, good job. If it's not, this is horrible, and Doja, you need to chill. Number 3, Liam Neeson. Liam may be known for his serious roles and for being, one of the worst parents in cinematic history, but this year he was known as an uncomfortable man thanks to his appearance on the show The View. Appearing to discuss his career and potential projects coming down the line, the conversation shifted after one of the hosts, Anna Navarro, jabbed Joy Behar about her crush on Liam Neeson, saying that there was at least one woman on this panel that would love to be taken by Liam. Ew. The show then played a supercut of all the times that Joy has spoken about Liam, including a time when she said that she would want to have her ashes sprinkled over him, and another bit where she admitted to getting a little aroused when she saw him on screen. Liam joked at first, asking Joy if she received the checks, insinuating that she gets paid every time she talks about him. Following the interview, Liam felt the whole thing to be a little bit of a waste of time. The segment about the crush was long and is a crush that materialized like 15 years ago. Eventually, he had a normal conversation, but overall it was just a little uncomfortable. Number 2, Chloe Fineman. For anyone who does not know Chloe Fineman, I'm sorry. She is currently working as a cast member on Saturday Night Live, and she's genuinely doing a great job and is hilarious. Fortunately, earlier this year, she was involved in a red carpet interview that proved how little she actually knew about some of the celebrities involved with the event she was at. Fineman hosted the Vogue live stream of the 2023 Met Gala alongside Derek Blasberg. The pair were eventually joined by Aubrey Aubrey Plaza, Madeline Klein, the designer of many dresses from the evening, and Stella McCartney. As the interview began, Fineman attempts to introduce the women that she's interviewing but fumbles all of their names, one of them on purpose. Instead of calling them by their first names, she refers to Madeline and Stella as McCartney and Klein. She then calls Aubrey Plaza Audrey, and Plaza improvised her own last name, Slutburn, which may have to be bleeped out, but I really hope it's not. Chloe and Aubrey actually know each other very well and have worked together a few times. Chloe and Aubrey actually know each other really well, and they've worked together a few times in the past, so this was clearly just an inside joke. McCartney was having none of these shenanigans though. Chloe instinctively laughed when someone makes a joke, so when the women kept responding to the questions, "What are you wearing?" with each other's last names, she had to giggle. McCartney asked her if she was taking this seriously, and the tension dissipated only when she asked McCartney about taking over for Karl Lagerfeld, the designer that the night had been themed after. Yeah, I don't know how to say his last name, please don't comment about it. The moment was tense, and we're sure Chloe was happy to get back to World of Sketch Comedy as soon as possible. And at number 1, Jada Pinkett Smith. Every single interview that this woman has ever done has had some kind of shade or hidden meaning behind it, whether it's trying to patch things up with someone on her own little Facebook talk show that hurt her, or just telling the world every single dirty detail about Will Smith that she knows. This woman is a menace who makes for uncomfortable interviews and moments every time she is on screen. This year alone, she outed her marriage as a sham, claimed Tupac Shakur was in love with her, and wrote a book about everything in between. Don't buy it. Those are celebrity interviews from 2023 that really just did not go smoothly. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, follow the channel for more celebrity content every day. Thank you for stopping beyond the screen, and we'll see you next time.